Hey guys, what's up? In this video, I'm going to be going over the OBS streaming software and talking about why you should be using it. Whether for live streaming for your church group, for a class, for a sporting event, or even gaming. So let's dive in. From April 2019 to April of 2020, live streaming grew by 99%. It doubled, and you can bet that it continued to grow throughout 2020. So before jumping into this fray, why out of all the different softwares would we pick OBS? That is the question that I'm going to answer for you, highlighting several different points that I find noteworthy. And those are the backing, the support, the integrations, and the flavors available. So let's start by talking about what OBS is. OBS, or the Open Broadcast Software, is an open source project that's freely available under the GPL and developed by a dedicated team of passionate individuals. Now, GPL indicates the GNU Public License, which is a series of widely used software licenses that guarantee end users the freedom to run, study, share, and modify the software. What this means isn't necessarily that the software itself is free, but that you have access to the source code and you're able to modify it as you might see fit. However, in the case of OBS, it is also available for free, so you get benefits of both. As an open source project though, what sort of backing does OBS have? Let's take a look. When it comes to backing, OBS receives in excess of a combined $111,000 per year from its bronze, silver, gold, and diamond tier backers. From there, we can assume that at the premier tier, the likes of Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch are donating well in excess of $50,000 per year. And none of this accounts for the monetary contributions of individuals. But then, not all contributions are monetary. Because OBS is an open source project, pretty much anyone is able to contribute to the source code. And taking a look at the project stats on GitHub, we see that there are no fewer than 430 contributors. That's like 17 times the number of developers that were working at my previous job. And we did enterprise level software. So Josh, what about support? Excellent question. Since there is no real company developing OBS, you don't have a support line that you can call. But that doesn't mean there are no support options. On the OBS website, you'll find a help section with a wiki and guides, a link to forums where you can get help, and a link to the OBS Discord server. The OBS Discord server has some 237,000 members and functions as a sort of live support and development forum. The plus, you'll get support from actual users and the developers. And you don't have to worry about those lovely scripts that you get to go through when you call something like Comcast customer service. So what about the integrations? What services can OBS run with? Well, the better question really might be, what services doesn't it work with? OBS comes with 50 plus integrations ready to use, including popular options like Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter / Periscope, and more. And if somehow what you're looking for doesn't have to be covered, you can always add in the URL for your service along with the stream key and you're good to go. Now, because OBS is an open source project, there are a few different flavors out there as well, in case you want something with a little bit more variety. The two flavors that I am most familiar with are Streamlabs OBS and OBS Live by Stream Elements. But first, let's talk a little bit more about the vanilla version though, before we jump into these other two. While the vanilla version might not be the most visually appealing, it does have a few advantages over Streamlabs and OBS Live. One of the main advantages is that any updates to OBS are immediately in the build. Vanilla OBS, as we're going to call it, also has the advantage of working on all of the major operating systems, including Windows, Mac OS, and Linux. With many of the settings supporting export and import, you can easily share your settings across devices. The great part is, regardless of what system you have available, if you migrate location or you go from work to home or something else and you have a different environment, you're pretty much guaranteed you're going to have a tool that you can work with that you're familiar with. Vanilla OBS also supports plugins, which bring a lot of cool functionality. For example, the Replay Sources plugin supports multi-camera instant replay with the option for slow-mo for free. Compare that to something like vMix. If you're needing instant replay, you'll have to get the $700 version, and you only get replay for a single camera. If you need more than one camera, you're looking at $1,200. Similarly, if we compare to something like Wirecast, you need the Pro version to get instant replay, and that's a $799 US package. So what about StreamElements' offering though of OBS Live? Well, OBS Live happens to actually be quite similar to vanilla OBS, sporting the same Spartan UI, but adds a number of features. Most of these are cloud-based with things like a chatbot, cloud-based overlays, and what they call se.merch. OBS Live integrates your channel's chat and activity feed into OBS, which I think even current versions of OBS do, allowing you to easily manage everything through a single application. Chatbot adds custom commands, spam protection, and a viewer loyalty system. And with the chatbot being cloud-based, that means that you can basically migrate systems, go wherever, and all you've got to do is log back in and you've got your chatbot. Similarly, with the cloud-based overlays, all of your overlays get set up in the cloud, and you then include those by using a browser source inside OBS Live. This means if something ever happens to your computer, or if you migrate machines, if you're traveling and you're streaming from a new location with a new setup, you can easily pull in those overlays by simply including the URL where you've already defined your overlay and you're ready to go. Now, as I don't actually use OBS Live and haven't looked too much into it, that's about all I can really offer as far as OBS Live goes. But if you're wanting to learn more, be sure to head over to streamelements.com and check it out. So moving on to Streamlabs OBS. Now, Streamlabs OBS winds up being even not just another flavor of OBS, but also the namesake of the company that it was started by. Founded in 2014, Streamlabs would grow to be acquired in 2019 by Logitech for $89 million. Now, Streamlabs is the version of OBS that I've been using for the last probably year plus now, and part of what initially turned me on to it was the friendliness of the UI. It sports a much more modern interface, which made it feel much more approachable and easy to figure out. Turns out it doesn't function too differently from OBS, but sometimes you just really prefer the nicer look. Similar to StreamElements, Streamlabs comes with a whole host of extra features and content, from access to overlays to cloud backup, allowing you to easily migrate your settings between machines, and much, much more. The Streamlabs ecosystem also gives you access to things like stream analytics, tons of custom widgets, access to a bot to help with viewer engagement and moderation, and more. Streamlabs overlays wind up differing from the StreamElements overlays a bit though. While StreamElements allows you to set up your scene in the cloud, with Streamlabs, you set up your scenes on your machine. Now, these scenes do get backed up to the cloud though, so they do sync pretty decently between machines. Much of the functionality and options are the same. However, I might have to give StreamElements the leg up here, since if I'm traveling, I'm not likely to have my same audio setup or even my same video setup effectively breaking my scene, but we can address that another time. There are though what I would consider two main differences between the vanilla OBS and even OBS Live and Streamlabs OBS. The first being system support. While OBS runs on Windows, Mac OS, and Linux, Streamlabs only supports the two former, Windows and Mac OS. Now, while this might not be an issue for many, it might be a slight drawback for those who would hope to use it on Linux. The second and the more significant one is Streamlabs Prime. Streamlabs Prime is a monthly subscription service that gives you access to tools and features that aren't available in the vanilla OBS. These include pro themes, which include things like animated overlays, the ability to multi-stream, allowing you to broadcast to Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, and other services simultaneously, 46 plus apps, custom tip pages, and more. You can subscribe to Streamlabs Prime for $19 a month on a monthly recurring basis, or save $79 by paying for a full year in advance for a total of $12.42 a month, or $149 for the year. If you're just starting out though, I'd probably advise holding off on the Prime, as you probably want to get a nice base going, make sure things are going to go well, before you start chucking money into a service that you may or may not actually use. Alright guys, that'll wrap up this video. Subscribe and turn on notifications to learn more about streaming. Leave a thumbs up if you found value in this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. So long.